Hey, what is up, guys? Ishann here, and you're listening to our podcast. As usual, with me, I have Umesh here.
What's up, guys? Umesh here. How's it going?
We're here with the second part of the Captain America discussion that we were having last time. We left it off at Winter Soldier. We were discussing Winter Soldier. Last time, we discussed about First Avengers and how it did a good job of setting up Captain America. And after that, we discussed Winter Soldier, where we saw how it gave the character a depth. But we left out the Avengers in the middle. So we've discussed that and then the Age of Ultron. And maybe we can go ahead and talk about Civil War 2.
Yeah, right. So we discussed first half of the Captain's journey. Now let's move on to the second part.
I think Avengers is also an important part of Cap's journey. In my personal opinion, Joss Whedon was not able to do the kind of justice. He was not able to give Cap the screen time or the character depth that he deserved. But I think he did a decent job. He didn't do a great job, but it was a decent job. He focused more on Iron Man, I think.
Yeah, Avengers was a wonderful team movie per se.
Yeah.
It was the coming together movie. It was very well done that way. But Captain America was so undermined in it. I mean, like he had literally no importance.
Yeah. So Thor and Hulk, they are fighting these huge creatures, and Tony Stark is trying to repair this. What was that? A turbine?
Turbine, yeah. Helicarrier
turbine. He's trying to repair that, and what Cap does in it is he fights a switch.
Yeah.
That's what he does, and he looks at it, works on some kind of electricity, as he says.
What's it look like in there?
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong. Really?
They tried a lot to put that whole old man thing in him where he is out of time and he still doesn't know the lingo and how things are. He's still in from the olden times. So I think it's fine. It was necessary for his character after the first Avengers. I think it was necessary for him to go through that transition. But did it require an entire movie?
No, it really didn't. I mean, that was, I think, the gimmick that they gave him just to keep him busy. That he's new to everything. He's finding out how Shield has developed these weapons. There was nothing much else to Captain America in Avengers.
Yeah, the best that he does at a point, 2 points is he goes into Nick Fury's secret weapons vault and finds something out, which was, I think, not that important for the storyline. I don't know. And then the other thing is that he saves a group of people in the cafe.
Cafe or something, yeah.
Now, even in the beginning of the movie, when he's trying to take down Loki, he needs Iron Man's help to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously the character doesn't need it, but the movie says that he needs it. So I think it was a little underplayed as a hero. I don't know.
Totally agree with that. I don't think. You see the movie. Even did Joss Whedon do that to any other character as well?
He did. If you want to get into it, he did, because I think with Thor, the first Thor is like this guy who's a god basically, and comes down, and he's able to have a normal conversation with Natalie Portman. He explains the whole tree of life and thing. So Thor goes from this guy you can have a conversation to, in Avengers, a guy who only speaks in Shakespearean, I guess. They gave him weird lines unnecessarily. Yeah. So I think that happened with Thor 2.
Now that I think about it, I don't know, Avengers was much of a character development per se movie, but they should have given Cap more, I don't know, importance is the right word, more weight while the Avengers is fighting the biggest threat they have faced yet.
Mm-hmm.
Captain should have been in the center along with Iron Man. He should have led the, like, he did lead the group. Yeah, even in the fight. So, anyways, I think for if you just look at Cap, Avengers is just a forgettable movie. If you're just looking at.
I mean, yeah, I think the Avengers, the first Avengers, the purpose of it was to bring all of them together and to have those worlds connect that Tony Stark was in and the one that Thor was in and all of the other characters that they were in. I think the movie's purpose was to bring them together. They did a good job with it. Does it mean that because you're doing a team building exercise, you cannot do a character building exercise? I feel they could have. I feel they could have. It's a missed opportunity. I think he does have a few good scenes where he has a exchange with Tony Stark where he directly calls him out saying that you're not the one who would make the sacrifice, and Tony Stark says that I would just rather cut the wire.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good character banter that I think it was probably we can say that the seeds for Civil War were laid over there.
Definitely. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The contrast between their ideology
Yeah.
is shown. But it's also interesting because these superpowered individuals come together and they are not just on the same page. Obviously, they have been through different things. So it was really good to see that at the time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you got those chills and you got goosebumps when the team up happened, and the whole pan camera shot where everybody's standing in a circle.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. It gave me chills. But I think there's not much to talk about as Cap in Avengers. Obviously, he comes out as the leader of the group. Tony Stark, even him with his ego, acknowledges that, saying, when he says, "Take it away, call the shots," or whatever he says. He comes off as the group leader. So that's great. But then that's about it with that. And coming to the movie after Winter Soldier, The Age of Ultron, I think Age of Ultron was a much better movie than the first Avengers. People don't think that way. I do. When I think about character developments.
So just do you think Age of Ultron was better than the first Avengers just for like why you're focusing on character development or as a movie, as a whole movie?
See, you cannot. I mean, the main thing about that is that when you're seeing something for the first time, it always is special for you, and you can never really replicate that feeling when you see the Avengers for the first time. The second time you see them together is not. It's great, but the feeling of seeing them for the first time can never be replicated. So for me, the first Avengers is special because of that. But as we discuss character developments and storyline, I think Age of Ultron is a much superior movie which did not get its due credit because of the unnecessary subplots that were put into it. Like Vision's birth. I mean, of course it was necessary, but it wasn't carried out to a very execution, I would say. About Cap in Age of Ultron, what I really like about him is as we begin Age of Ultron, we see Avengers teaming up and fighting to a base where we find Loki's scepter. So over there, Cap, again, as I mentioned in my last discussion, that he has developed this level of comfort with these guys now, and he's starting to feel good about them. He's enjoying the company. He's enjoying fighting together, I think, and we can feel that connection, that chemistry that is between the guys. He has a moment with Iron Man. He has a moment with Thor. So I think that's great. And even after they succeed in that mission, there's this party that is there. So Cap, we see him enjoying that party.
Yeah,
that's a really good thing. I mean, that makes me feel really good that Cap is finally enjoying amongst friends. That makes you feel good. He is happy. He even tries to lift up the hammer, which moves, by the way. But then I think just to protect Thor's feeling, he doesn't lift it up. Is what I feel. I think he's worthy though. So anyways, so he picks it up. He doesn't pick it up. He tries to pick it up. They are all having fun. So again, that whole thing where he has developed a trust with these guys. There's a feel good moment, a moment of how they feel like a family. So it's a good thing for me to see that he's finally making friends.
How Cap's character has developed. He was really reserved in the previous
Mm-hmm.
movies, just to himself, and a bit professional towards these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But now he has like really fun conversations with them, and,
Yeah.
and he's an active part of the group. So
Yeah.
it's really good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you see, as I told you again, like they did in First Avengers, what they did was they made him and they broke him, and they made him and they broke him, and then again they did the same thing over here. When Tony develops Ultron, that breaks him. That breaks that bond that they were almost having. I think Cap loses trust in Tony over there. There is a crack over there, I think. And
Yeah.
he feels that this is a betrayal of the team. So I think again the whole thing with where he's put together and broken, put together. I mean, he's the Humpty Dumpty of MCU at this point. So as a character, it's just a character. I think he goes into this. I need to step back from this group, maybe, because in the rest of the movie you see him being a little reserved with others.
In the end, again, he's not a major part of again defeating the villain. I think the second time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? He's just fighting off on the sidelines,
Mhm.
on the ground.
Fighting
while-
off the minions of.
I mean, that's in a way that's understandable. Marvel is grounded, but still, I think you've got to give him something. And I mean, he can kick more ass.
I mean, of course he can, dude. I mean, you see, he goes up against Ultron. He holds his own, man.
Yeah.
I think he does, and I don't know why Hawkeye is being a dick about it, that you're not a match for him. I don't know why he says that, but that's a dick thing to say. He shouldn't have said that. Though.
Well, he's definitely unhappy. I'm gonna try and keep him that way.
You're not a match for him, Cap.
Thanks, Barton.
But he says that, and but he
Like,
holds
yeah,
his
you
own.
know, Hawkeye's acting like he's
Yeah, he is a match for him because arrows. He's all about the arrows. Anyways, so he again, I would again point out the difference where Tony Stark dismantles Ultron in just like a second or something, and then it takes an entire scene for Cap to just hold him off. So again, I think the difference of importance, I would say, or the difference of how these two characters were treated in I mean, they weren't treated equal. Obviously, it can be seen in the movie. So I think is a little unfair. I mean, obviously, I love Iron Man more than Captain America, but I still feel that it was a little unfair.
Yeah, it really was. It wasn't for Winter Soldier. I don't think people would have liked Cap that much.
I know.
Just
They wouldn't have.
delete that movie and you see how weak Cap has been throughout the
Exactly.
other Avengers movies.
Exactly. And then you bring Civil War, and you know how amazing he is again.
Civil War is again a masterpiece by the Russos. So
Because he kicks Iron Man's ass in it.
yeah,
I mean, he doesn't do it alone, obviously, but he does. I mean, he holds his own against Iron Man again. So why the difference? I don't understand where Tony Stark can take out Ultron easily, but Cap struggles. But then in the next movie, Cap kicks his ass. I don't know. I mean, how is this? How is it decided? What happens?
I think there's a bit of an inconsistency because of the change in the filmmakers,
Probably.
which we have seen in a lot of other movies as well
Mhm.
that we haven't liked. But yeah, again, Age of Ultron, again a missed opportunity. I think more than Avengers, it was for me a missed opportunity in terms of a lot of things. But talking about Captain America's character wise in Age of Ultron,
When Scarlet Witch basically puts everybody in a trance.
yeah, that's an important part.
That's
I think
that's
that we need
his.
to
I
cover.
want to talk about his where he goes to in that dance with Peggy Carter. What do you think about that?
Hmm.
Is it something that he is secretly dreaming about every day? Is that his wet dream? I can only wonder and hope so.
I mean, he's desperate since 70 years, so you do
Yeah,
totally
of
understand
course.
him.
My mom actually said that please do not. I told her that we're doing this podcast, and she says, "Do not abuse this, because in your last things you used to abuse and it looked really unclassy."
See,
That was very unclassy of you.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. So the dream we're talking about.
Yeah,
with
thank
his
you.
with his war buddies, I think. What do you think about it? I mean, do you think?
that's the only dark place Cap can go to. There's no other dark place that he has. I mean,
I have some thoughts about it. Is at the time I had these thoughts. I don't know if I agree with them today, uh, after all the things that we have seen. But do you think he is the kind of guy who won't be able to keep his sanity if he is not in a war, or he is not fighting?
I don't know. There is definitely the dialogue where Alron says, so pretending you can live without war.
Yeah.
This was never my life.
You two can still walk away from this.
No, we will.
I know you've suffered.
Captain America, God's righteous man, pretending you could live without a war.
Is that true though?
I don't know. It's a because then in Winter Soldier we see him being pretty well adjusted in the real world now. Before everything begins, I think he is well adjusted. He's not having any problems. It's something to think about.
Yeah, probably. Maybe Ultron is just taunting him.
I don't know. Ultron's a dick.
I think war is the only thing that, even think about it, even going back to first Avenger, Cap was like, he had a lot of other things to do in life, but he only wanted to fight war,
Yeah.
kill Nazis. Surely patriotism, definitely. But that's in a way true, that he can't live without war. He has to. That's his.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
think
he's
so too.
want to do.
I think so too. I think he would keep his sanity. I don't think he would go mad or anything. I don't think he would go to an extent of Mysterion level where he would create his own villains. But I think he would perform the best in a war situation or a fight situation.
Yeah.
I think. So I think Age of Ultron, I think again, it's as you said very rightly, it's a missed opportunity.
And even in the end of Age of Ultron, everything's just fine between Cap and Iron Man. There's not much ideological differences.
No, I mean they again joke with Thor about the hammer.
Yeah.
Like if you keep it in the elevator is worthy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's all fine, but they do say that they're gonna miss each other.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Everything goes
Yeah.
back to normal. Like there's
Goes back to normal.
not much done for the character development of Captain America.
Yeah, but I now remember in the end he says that he goes to the new Avengers HQ and he says that this is where I belong.
Yeah.
So
Feels like home.
The simple life.
You get there one day.
I don't know. Family, stability. Guy who wanted all that went in the ice 75 years ago. I think someone else came out.
You all right?
I'm home.
feels like home. It's a good thing. I don't know. I mean, it was a decent movie. It was not a bad movie. We enjoyed it. We had fun. We had our hoots. So that's fine. But then didn't do much for Cap. I think I think team up movies are not supposed to do much for individual characters until when Russos take control. I think.
Yeah.
So I think Avengers is a wrap for me. I don't think there's any point in talking about it anymore. I think the next would be Civil War. Civil War, when I saw the movie, I loved it. There were really amazing movies, but the reason why my enthusiasm is a little low right now is because I felt a little cheated, because with what happens in the comics is very different from what happens in the movie. I was expecting something major to happen to Cap, I think.
Okay, you're talking in terms of consequences.
Consequences, yeah. Okay. So it's fine. It's fine though. Even I mean, I guess because Russos always say that they don't pick up the comic as it is. They add their own thing to it. And I think even Kevin Feige has said it, that even with Age of Ultron, they did the same thing as they picked up the loose storyline and made it their own, so that the comic book readers are not like, oh, we knew this or we knew that.
There's always going to be that problem when you're making superhero movies, especially based on comics, because there is so much source material in the comics, and even if the movie is like similar or not similar, doesn't matter. It doesn't give you that much to think about as much as the comics do. You feel like they could have done more, they should have done more, things like that. But I think Civil War is a monumental movie in so many ways. One of the I'll not keep on going about Civil War because we can do it all day long. So I'll keep it simple. What I think is right. So why Civil War is such a good movie is for the first time we got a battle of two heroes against each other. Like that's not common. Avengers. Up till this moment, it was like good guys getting together, then they get
Defeating
defeated,
the bad
then they
guys.
come together again. That's a generic movie.
Yeah.
And the first Avengers we liked it because it was a spectacle. It was a first time ever. But after that point, things storylines kind of feel generic. But in Civil War, they showed something new. Two of the characters that we love going against each other. We are torn apart to see whose side we are on, who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah.
And the best thing is they gave Captain America the same level of they kept him as equal
Yeah.
to Iron Man. That's
Yeah.
the best, because Iron Man is the best character
Yeah.
since his first movie. But that's the best thing that they did.
Well, I wouldn't agree to that last statement, is that he's the best character, because he went through some shit with Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 and both the Avengers. But then in Civil War, they gave him a very different arc. They gave him a very, very interesting arc, because I think that's a discussion for Tony Stark's
And I meant
essay.
best as in like the most established and like
Yeah,
most
established.
popular
Yeah,
character,
yeah, that is definitely there. The most loved also, I think,
You can say
Cap is a very, very close second best. So, and I think Winter Soldier and Civil War are the reasons for it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened.
Definitely.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. So, with Civil War, as you say, there are a lot of things to be discussed and to be talked about in terms of Cap. But as we have decided that we will have this discussion on who's right and who's wrong in a separate audio, video, podcast, I don't know. So we would have that discussion in a different way. But I think apart from just who's right and who's wrong, what's important and what really made me like that movie is how Captain America really values human life. Bucky's human life that he would value. He would value human lives of like everybody. With the way he's torn apart with Peggy's death. When Peggy basically reminds him of who he is again. So he gets inspired by her death to keep fighting and to keep being the good guy that he is. So that is a great thing. And another thing that I really like is how Falcon really stood by Cap throughout the thing. And Sam Wilson doesn't get his due credit as a character, as a dedicated character. He doesn't really, because people just make fun of him. He's pretty cool. I mean, he's not a bad character. It's a pretty cool character. He doesn't get his due credit. The way he's loyal to Captain America, he believes in him. So I think that's also something really amazing. And then they bring in Scott Lang and all these, and they had a really good throwback with how the relationship that was built with him and Black Widow, as in Captain America and Black Widow. They had a connection to it in this film too, even though they are on opposing sides. She does help him out in the end. So I think the connections that he has made in life, they really help him out in his life. I think more than him helping himself, I think it's the people around him who really make him stand on his own. I think because he stands for Bucky, he stands for Peggy, he stands for Black Widow. He's just a guy who does the standing, but there are people behind him who support him a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great thing for a character to be so loved by supporting characters and even the other main characters. That is, I think, just an example of how a character should be made, and the whole discussion about the righteous characters, how a righteous character can be made interesting.
Yeah. Spot on.
Let me ask you something about this. In Civil War, Captain America, in the initial stages, he's fighting Crossbones, and they go for some mission which doesn't even have any continuity towards the end. But they go on this mission, and Scarlet Witch ends up accidentally, obviously, blowing up a building. After everything is done, he comes to her, and everybody is just blaming her for everything and blaming all the superheroes for everything. So he keeps his calm. He comes to her and he has a discussion with her. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think? Like Captain America's intentions are they just to console her, or he's just that guy?
I think he's more like a father figure to her,
Mm.
and it's so nice of him going to console her. To He knows what it feels like to feel responsible for the death of innocent people, and he knows what toll it takes on you. I mean, he's the most experienced war veteran amongst all of those.
Obviously, yeah.
So it's a very nice moment. It not only is important for the story to see, but even when you think about their team, like why Scarlet Witch and other characters choose Captain America, feel that he is right because of the support that he provides to them. I think so. That's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I think as I said, with Sam Wilson, I think people who support him, for me, I think it's this way, that they might not even believe in what he's fighting for, but they believe in Captain America. They believe in Steve Rogers, and that's why they fight for him. I think that is the only reason why these people fight.
There's one thing that Civil War did great was show Cap in a bad light, at least for half the people who think Iron Man was right. Like Captain America is a righteous character, definitely. So it's good that sometimes you have to show
Question
that
that, yeah.
question that's really great.
As a character and as a human being, it's a tribute to that how these people will follow Steve Rogers into a war that they might not even believe in.
Yeah.
And that's just the greatness of the character.
Definitely. As you say, flaws, every character has to have flaws. So Captain America in this movie definitely had his flaws.
Yes.
And we think some people we perceive them in a way that they are not human. They do these superhuman things, or they make these superhuman choices, but at the end of the day, everybody is human. Everybody can make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's a good turn in Captain America's whole storyline, one of the
Yeah.
most important turns, I think, in Civil War.
I think we can't discuss Civil War more because there's this discussion that needs to be had in a different podcast where we want to talk about how which was right and which was wrong. So I think that is more important for me to have that.
Yeah.
That's the penultimate discussion for me. So I think for me, I would like to sum up what Cap is for me from First Avengers to Civil War. That is it. So Captain America, the first Avenger, does a great job of establishing him. Civil War does a great job of giving him a layer of he can make the tough decisions. He can do what is necessary to stand up for himself. And Civil War gives him that amazing power of being a great human being, a great mentor, an amazing character, where he chooses this. I don't know. I just think at this point it's a part of his body, his shield. He chooses his best friend over that shield, and that just warms my heart because that just gives me hope that not everything in this world is just materialistic. There is a chance of things being emotionally. There are some things that are emotionally close to you. So Cap stands for that, and I stand for that. That just makes me really happy and glad. How and what happens in Infinity Wars and in Endgame is a different factor. But if I were to see these three movies and that's it, I would love the character. I would think the justice and the justice was done definitely through the character, and the character was given a new way of. Captain America definitely was in a new light after this trilogy. So for me, I think one of the really good characters. And a lot of credit goes to Chris Evans for playing that guy. We haven't given him that credit. It's just we're talking about Russo's and we talk about Kevin Feige and Marvel. But Chris Evans did a great job playing Captain America. I mean, you feel that it's easy, but it's not. And you feel that it's just the physical, making his physique that amazing, or just jumping here and there or throwing issue. That's the only job that he might have. But no, there are so many things that Chris Evans has done right as Captain America.
Credit to the directors who chose him in the beginning, and credit to Chris Evans. I mean, have you heard about this starting point? The thing he's doing recently. He is he's starting a website in which the Democrats and the Republicans can. On any given topic, they can just keep their points, both of their perspectives.
Okay.
So it's such a good initiative. I mean, talk about an actor being perfect for the role. I mean, MC have gotten right so many times, but like when you think about it, it's really inspiring. The way he has carried off himself off screen is just makes you love the character.
With that class, with that stature that he has. I mean, you see Chris Evans and you see Captain America, just like you see Tony Stark and you see RDJ, and vice versa. Same thing with Deadpool, same thing with Wolverine. Chris Evans came out of nowhere. I mean, you remember him in that not Another Teen movie, right? He had a banana up his ass. Nobody expected him to be Captain America. It's not my favorite character, I would say, but it is one of the most changed and developed and really done to the T, to the perfection character for me.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. Captain America he is my favorite amongst the MCU superheroes.
What do you guys think about the character arc that Cap was involved in, and how his relationships and how he has affected the people around him? So let us know in the comments, and let us know if anything else that you would like us to talk about. So that's about it, and that's a wrap on Cap Essay, I guess.
Yes, guys, that's it for now. We'll see you in another hot discussion, another burning topic.
What are we doing next? I don't know. We'll do something.
Yeah.
We'll do Iron Man. We'll do Thor. I don't know. We'll do something.